but it was clear the public was done with Justin. They'd had it with him, and Poilievre, as you know, was poised to have a massive election result. And thank you, Mr. Trump. The one good thing Mr. Trump did was to say Canada is a 51st state, and blah, blah. I believe Trump got Mr. Carney elected.
Gang, what's up? Aaron, Canadian Looney. Smash the like, hit subscribe. We're going to jump over here to the CPAC to watch David Suzuki break our hearts. Listen to what he's saying. He sounds good, looks good. He was a hero of mine growing up always, but things have changed, times have changed, and now he's out there selling this message. Let's take a peek, guys. This is some serious propaganda. Let's go.
Well, for some 50 years now, David Suzuki has been part of the national conversation. Starting his broadcast career with CBC Radio, he is a past host of the program Quirks and Quarks, a past host of The Nature of Things on CBC television, and is co-founder of the environmental organization that bears his name, the David Suzuki Foundation. Now, yesterday, Mr. Suzuki marked his 90th birthday, but instead of resting and celebrating, he's still out there advocating for the causes he cares deeply about. And to talk about it, we are now joined by David Suzuki. David, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so as I said, yesterday was your 90th birthday.
Right.
So I was going to present
He looks pretty great for 90.
you something to start off our conversation. You don't need to eat it now.
Okay.
but happy
me.
birthday to you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Okay, I figure if you can't eat it or smoke it or drink it,
What's the use?
I'm not interested.
Okay, well, there you go. But happy birthday again, and I appreciate the time you're giving to us, because obviously you are a man who commands respect in many parts of the world, certainly in this country. And some very high-profile people talked to you, including the Prime Minister, with whom you just met on the Hill earlier this afternoon. How did that go? What were you talking about?
Well, it was what I expected. When I knew I was going to be here, I made a request through our representative here if I could meet the Prime Minister. And of course, the answer was he's way too busy. But then apparently Mark insisted on giving us a moment to go in. You know, it was a photo op. We got his picture together, and
Yeah, get a photo op with David Suzuki. Do that, Mark Carney.
he got to tell me all the good things he's doing, and it's not a real chance to exchange ideas, and I understand that, but I appreciate that he made the time to meet with me and my wife, in that he was signaling that the environment is an important part of his agenda.
Virtue signaling.
And we spent the 10 minutes we had together, him telling me about all of the things that are coming in the budget. So, you know, I understand what it is. My only statement to him at the end of our meeting was, we can't fool around. We have an urgent crisis. We can't. Incremental is not enough now. You know, a little law change here, throw some money over there. We've got to make massive change. And I told him, you talked about rupture at the international level. It was a brilliant speech. But there is a rupture all over the world at every level now.
Is there? Is it a rupture or is it a planned takeover? Like
at the cities and the provincial level, we've got ruptures because we've reached and passed limits that nature imposes on us. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So we can't go on supporting the same institutions. The economy, politics, legal systems are not set up to confront the crisis we're in.
Okay, I'll pick up on that in a moment, but you talked about the Prime Minister presenting to you essentially his environmental credentials, and yes, he does come with them. Beyond being, you know, past governor of the Banks of Canada and England, of course, he held the role of special envoy with the United Nations regarding the environment, climate change, and finance. What do you make of the Prime Minister's commitment to the environment?
Well, I think it's there. But the problem is it can't work regardless of who's in there, as long as we cling to the same systems, the economic, political, and legal systems, because those three systems we developed to guide and shape and constrain us left nature out. Nature's not a part, it's not the foundation of these systems. And so however enlightened you are, if you're working, and he's a banker, and I believe he is committed, he understands, and I have heard that his wife is the driving force, and I say, if your wife is driving you, you got to listen to that. And the environment is a critical thing, but he really believes, as a banker and now as a politician, he can do it through the regular systems. And it can't, because the systems are fundamentally flawed.
Okay. Is that what happened with the last prime minister, do you think? Because, Justin Trudeau, had he stayed in office, the polls indicated he would have lost to Pierre Poilievre, largely on things like the carbon tax, environmental regulations like clean electricity standards, emission caps, as well as the EV mandate. Is that what went wrong? The fact that he was trying to sell policies that may not fit this current system?
Yeah, you're the one to tell me. I don't know. I'm not a political analyst, but it was clear the public was done with Justin. They'd had it with him, and Poilievre, as you know, was poised to have a massive election result. And thank you, Mr. Trump. The one good thing Mr. Trump did was to say Canada is a 51st state, and blah blah. I believe Trump got Mr. Carney elected because people felt that Carney represented someone who understood the economy very, very well, and somehow they ignored the fact that he's a liberal, and it's been amazing to see what he has done when he got in. I think he's given Canadians a sense of...
Name 2 things that he's actually done besides fly around the world 6.5 times. I mean, what has Carney done? Come on, David Suzuki.
Someone who is thinking, I thought his speech at Davos was brilliant, and it's been hailed around the world. Why? Because he thought a bit. It was a profound speech about the rupture, and people were galvanized by that to realize, yes, that's right, we can't keep acting the same old, same old. If we did that, we'd go on our knees and beg this bully for forgiveness. But Carney stood up and said, no, we can't go on the same way. And that's the only thing that I said to him today in my brief encounter with him. Mm-hmm. The rupture has got to be at every level in society now.
So how would you change it then? You identified 3 areas that don't fit with the crisis that the world finds itself in right now environmentally. So what changes do you think need to be made?
Put nature back in. Let nature be the foundation of our existence. So whatever you're approving, a new LNG plant or whatever, what is the effect on nature? And if there is a negative effect, you can't do it that way. Come back again with something that makes more sense. But we've got to let nature be the final basis on which we're acting. And then you say, well, how are we going to know where we're going? It's an uncertain future. Greta Thunberg, the power of her speech for me.
Okay, it's going off the rails. You're bringing up Greta Thunberg? Come on.
And she had a bigger impact than any environmentalist ever had. She said as a child, we're taught to take science seriously. And I've read the science, and the science says, if we carry on this way, I don't have a future. And there it was, as blunt as could be, because it was based on science.
I don't want to make too much of a gross generalization here, but is there a sense that it's an either-or proposition? Because right now, Canadians are worried about pocketbook issues. And when you bring up the environment, is it an either-or issue? Yeah. Because I don't know if we've seen a model where it's actually worked.
No, you're absolutely right. And the problem is that nature isn't in that either-or situation. Either way, nature's not a part of that consideration, and that's a problem. We're not saying you shouldn't have an economy, but the economic system we bought into is the capitalist system is so fundamentally flawed for 2 reasons. One is that it's built on the notion that growth is the very definition of success, that it is a necessary part of that system. You can't grow anything on the planet in a finite world indefinitely. And there are many scholars now who are saying the global economy is way too big. We have to degrow that economy. And I agree with that. But the other thing is that nature's been left out. And nothing shows how fundamentally difficult it is than Mark Carney's book that he wrote before he became a politician.
Values.
The first chapter, he points out Jeff Bezos' Amazon is valued by the economy in the tens of billions of dollars. Brazil's Amazon, the rainforest, the greatest ecosystem on the planet, has no economic value until it is logged, mined, dammed, or grows soybeans, cattle, or houses. That shows right there what the problem is. That we feel that we're supreme and everything in the service of us, like Bezos' Amazon, is worthwhile. But nature that is keeping the planet habitable for us has zero economic value. So then you say, okay, but let's work within the system. But the system is all designed and based on the fact that nature has no value. And so when we have arguments with the leaders in Alberta, well, we don't because they won't listen to us, but if you ever ask a leader in Alberta or the Prime Minister who used to be from Calgary, Harper, climate change, they never confront climate change as an issue of importance. No, I mean, Harper said for 9.5 years, doing anything about climate change is crazy economics. So in that simple statement, he was saying that the economy is more important than the atmosphere that gives us air to breathe, that gives us weather, climate, and the seasons. What kind of a system is that? You ask anyone in Alberta today in government, what about climate change? What are they going to say? You know, what is Danielle Smith and the guy before her? You guys are, foreign-funded radicals. You know, you want to destroy our economy, but never deal with the issue of climate change. Mm-hmm. What about the impact on us? It's not relevant even in our political system. So we're all arguing, oh, well, we could do this. Yeah, I've just talked to the green budget people, you know, that are trying to get the right things put in the budget. But they're all, you know, and that's great, we need them, but that's all incremental.
Yeah, and as you say, you are advocating for something far more than incremental.
Well, I'm saying
we'll see how it goes.
Our survival in the future is at stake.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I also want to note before that we're done that you have a new book out, David Suzuki, Lessons from a Lifetime, 90 Years of Inspiration and Activism. So I'm sure you outline a bit of that in this book, if
well,
not a
actually,
lot.
Check it out, guys.
You know, I always say that a funeral is such a waste. You know, people come together and they're saying all these nice things about the person, but he's dead. You know, what good is all that? And so the book, in a way, it has all kinds of little statements from various people about how the work that I've done has affected them. And this is kind of like a funeral oration. And so I'm very, very pleased. I do get, at the end of the book, I do have a chapter in which I try to say, what are the important lessons in my lifetime that I feel are worth passing on? Yeah,
and again, there is the book, which people can get out now. I hope you have a long and vibrant life still ahead of you, so no funeral oration needed this evening. But for the time, David Suzuki, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
I kind of feel like a hero has fallen. He looks great, sounds great for 90 years old. I wish him well, but oh my goodness, that's a heartbreaker. Thanks for watching, gang. We'll catch you in the next video. Get your Canadian federal politics right here. Ciao for now.